This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good morning, my Real News Media TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and happy Sunday to everyone. And in the news for this morning, December 18, 2022, St. Catherine woman with Alzheimer's missing. Members of the public are being asked to help locate Evan Johnson Morgan, who has been missing since Wednesday, December 14. Johnson Morgan, who suffers from Alzheimer's, was last seen in Angels Estate, Phase 1 in St. Catherine. Johnson Morgan frequents Malines Road, Garden Pen, and the Central Village areas. Anyone with information about Johnson Morgan's whereabouts are being asked to call 876-324-0473 or 119. Mixed views on hospital Christmas clear-out. A number of Jamaicans were on Friday split on whether public hospitals should release non-critical patients during the Christmas period in order to free up bed space for life-threatening cases. Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, on Thursday urged the relatives of non-critical patients to make the necessary preparations for them at home so they can be released. Sometimes their loved ones complain, but in the judgment of the clinicians, if that sickness is not life-threatening and there is a need to preserve a bed for anticipated emergency cases, which normally spike during this season, then the decision is always from the senior medical officer and the chief executive officer to release persons, and that is likely to happen this year again. So one needs to prepare oneself for that if you have persons in hospital who could easily be treated at home or guided remotely, Tufton said at the ministry's end-of-year press conference held at its headquarters in New Kingston. He appealed to Jamaicans to desist from leaving relatives at hospitals to languish, aware that under the Public Health Act the authorities cannot remove them as hospitals are a place of safety. It's been a recurring theme this time of year. We can't put people out on the street, and we don't put people out on the street legally or morally. It would be a wrong thing to do, said Dr. Tufton. At the same time, he noted that people wishing to have hassle-free festive season have been taking advantage of the hospital system by dropping their relative at the hospital door. That is not in keeping with the split of the season biblically, morally, or otherwise, Dr. Tufton stated. On Friday, the news visited Kingston Public Hospital to get reactions to the minister's appeal. One woman, who gave her name as Paulette, said some patients may die at home after being released, even though their medical condition isn't life-threatening upon their release. As long as them have somewhere to stay, they can be released. But if them not have nowhere to stay, where them a go? Them a go out, they go dead same way. The government need to find the money and build an infirmary, especially for the elders, she said. Her father, Dudley, chimed in. Some of them don't even have food to eat. At the hospital, them a depend on for the food. One woman who requested anonymity was adamant that the government needs to upgrade and equip public hospitals to eliminate the need to send the people home. Let them stay here. Sometimes when they go home, they have to come back because their situation get worse. The government need to get more beds and bigger, better facilities. Government always have money, even when them say them not have no money. Them fi do better because this is the biggest public hospital in the English-speaking Caribbean, she said. Other people, however, had opposite views. They believe that in order to prevent excess deaths, those who are non-critical need to be considerate and move out of the hospitals. One woman who accompanied her relative, who uses a wheelchair, said it was disgraceful to be placing critical patients on the floor because there is no bed space. From them have family we can take care of them can go. It can't be that accident patients come in and you don't have anywhere to put them. You have to put them on the ground. If people can move around and help themselves, I agree to send them home. It's another life you are trying to save, she argued. I would love to know that if I am out there and the car I am traveling crashes and me get a broke foot or a broke hand, the doctor should be able to look after me the right and proper way instead of me being on a stretcher for many days, she added. You have a lot of training nurses out there where I look job. Get one and put at your yard if you can't stay there with them. They will look after them. It doesn't make sense to occupy this space when you can save a life. Everyone helps one. That is how me see it, the senior citizen said. Another woman who was at the hospital to visit her relative, who has a critical illness, insisted that non-critical patients must go home for Christmas. Who know that sick supposed to go home and get their medication? The people them were really sick bad have to stay. Other people are going to come in were very critical and them now go have no bed to sleep on, she said. Another elderly woman, who is an outpatient and was at the hospital for a follow-up check, agreed that priority should be given to emergency cases. Who know that sick supposed to go home and get their medication? The people them are really sick bad have to stay. Who know that sick supposed to go home and get their medication? The people them were really sick bad have to stay. Other people are going to come in were very critical and them now go have no bed to sleep on if non-critical patients don't go home, she said. Kingston man arrested in connection with a firearm and ammo seizure. A man was arrested in connection with the seizure of an illegal handgun and several rounds of ammunition in Rosetown, Kingston 13 on Saturday. Reports from the Denhamtown police are that between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m., an operation was conducted at Harris Street in the community. During the search of a premises, a high-point 9mm pistol and 8 9mm rounds of ammunition were seized. One man was arrested. His identity is being withheld at this time. Investigations are ongoing, the police say. Police seize over 1,500 pounds of ganja in Bull Bay. Members of the Jamaica Constabulary Forces Narcotics Division are now investigating the seizure of over 1,500 pounds of ganja in Bull Bay, St. Andrew during an operation on Thursday. Reports are that about 10:45 p.m., a joint police-military team was conducting an operation in the area when an Isuzu motor truck was intercepted along the Bull Bay Main Road. During a search of the vehicle, compressed ganja, which attracts a street value of approximately $2 million, was found in the back of the truck, the lawman said. The motor truck and the illegal drug were seized. The driver of the motor truck was arrested on reasonable suspicion of breaches of the Dangerous Drugs Act. His identity is being withheld as the probe continues. Stalling in sentencing man who admitted to boogering boys irks mom. The road to justice is beginning to feel like a long, heart-wrenching one for a St. Mary family. And now that anxious and eager wait for one man to pay for what he has done stretches into the new year at least. Two brothers ages 6 and 12 were among 7 victims of Sheridan Shepherd, also of a St. Mary address, who was charged on June 17, 2021 with boogering 7 minors. Shepherd was charged with 6 counts of boogery, 5 counts of indecent assault, and 1 count of grievous sexual assault. On July 20, 2022, more than a year later, Shepherd pleaded guilty to all the charges laid against him and was supposed to be sentenced the following week on Wednesday, July 27. However, that date has been pushed back multiple times. The most recent, Thursday, December 15, was postponed until January 2023, still leaving a deeply hurt family without a conclusion. The boys are now 7 and 13 years old. On December 1, when the news contacted the mother, she said, "It's taken forever, but I waited for this so long, so I can wait some more." It was a totally different response on December 16. I felt a little disappointed at first, but I looked at it and I said, from him I go get sentenced, him I go get it. I said I can't hold on and wait until the next date come, and for the sentence to be handed down. But when they set a next date, and the date comes and then they put it off, and then they go back again and make a next date, just to put it off again until next year. This is going on for too long, the boy's frustrated mother told the news. The day he pleaded guilty, the woman said she held her belly and shook her head as an inexplicable anger rushed through her body in the St. Mary Parish Court. It was difficult, she said, noting that the final battle is Shepherd's sentencing, which has proved to be a drag. I don't know how to explain my feelings at this point. Too much of this now. Too much put off and push back. I just want this to be done and be over with right now, she lamented. On Thursday, the mother traveled from St. Mary to the Supreme Court on King Street, downtown Kingston, along with some parents of the other abused children. She spent $1,400 on public transportation alone. Me tired. May I leave from St. Mary to Kingston and I pay how much fare? And then when I go, it is disappointment, she told the news. Plus I leave out quite early and didn't get a chance to prepare anything, so I have to get something on the road to eat and come back. It's getting to me now. It's the same sentiment across all the parents. According to reports, a young girl in the same community made a report to her grandmother about Shepherd in June, which was followed by similar reports from the 6 other children. Immediately after, Shepherd was held and severely beaten by irate residents before police intervened. Betty Ann Blaine, founder of advocacy group Hear the Children's Cry, has expressed the disappointment at the scant regard towards the families waiting for justice. Blaine told the news that far too often, families are re-traumatized by elongated court proceedings. This would not be the first case. There are many others like that, these kinds of stories that we've been hearing over a long period where families that have undergone those kinds of tragedies and the trauma are re-traumatized by the delays in our courts. Nobody takes into consideration the cost that some of these families have to bear, particularly if they are traveling from rural Jamaica to Kingston to attend a court. Blaine said moving beyond the broad family, the actual children who were targeted and abused are old enough to understand the situation, and said the delays can only serve to mentally frustrate them. It's not just the closure for the adults, as children are very smart. One is 7 and one is 13. These are children old enough to understand what is going on, and when we talk about bringing some kind of closure to these kinds of cases that can be so traumatic, we must also take into consideration the feelings of children, she argued. They are not stupid, they know. They too will be affected when they see that the person who violated them in that way has not been sentenced. What about the children? Meanwhile, the boy's mother told the news that for her, the constant delays have somewhat planted seeds of doubt in her mind as it relates to a fair sentence. It has come across my mind many times because I know the justice system. I know how it is. What you expect is not what you get, but I leave my vengeance to God. They are just doing their part, and God will do the rest, so whatever they give him, I have no control over it, so I have to work with it and let God do whatever he will do, she said. Blaine added that it is time for a big call-out letter to be written to Chief Justice Brian Sykes to say, "Sir, we need your help. It can't be that families experience this kind of thing, and then there are delays and they have to find the resources to travel to court. It is clear, certainly to me, that we need to get a response from the Chief Justice of Jamaica. Clearly, something has to be done. We hear these cases over and over again, and we want to call for his intervention. He needs to tell us how this kind of situation can be improved upon." Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.